The Seattle Seahawks offense got the upper hand in the second padded practice of training camp. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to hump day here. We have made it to Wednesday, and we have made it through padded practice number 2. Yesterday was the second padded practice of training camp for the Seattle Seahawks, and we're getting, every day we go, one step closer to actual Seahawks football. And I know that it's just preseason, but we are just not even 2 weeks away from the start of Seahawks football that you can actually watch on your TV, watch on cable, watch on a major network. And obviously the games don't count, but I think a lot of us are excited to actually see the team take the field in an environment that resembles an actual football game. So one by one, people are trickling in. Seahawks fans that kind of hibernate during the offseason, especially during the slower parts of the offseason, they're coming back in. They're starting to pay attention again. They want to know what's up. And I'm going to be here the whole year. That's the plan. I'm going to be here for the whole season. And as people continue to come in and enter into these conversations and want to know what's up, I'm going to continue to try to help people the best that I can. So, second padded practice, we've got some stuff to talk about. We actually have a lot that I want to go through here. So let's just go ahead and get underway. To briefly summarize the second padded practice of the offseason, the offense, after a not so great day 2 days ago, did much better yesterday. Yesterday, and showed that they're keeping up as well. They're not falling behind the defense. They're not like slipping. There are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. So the main takeaway seems to be the offense is getting into gear here. Before we get into the details, though, I hope you will like this video. Thank you for watching it. Please like the video if you haven't already. Helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Click the bell for notifications. Consider becoming a channel member. It costs $2 a month. And those are the best ways to help out the channel. So let's go ahead and get underway here. Corbin Smith has his more or less daily article up on SI recapping some of the things that he noticed from yesterday's action at training camp. So you can go through that. I think there are a couple others out there as well. But let's flip through some of the things that stood out to me based on what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. So I want to start with some stuff about the Ryan Grubb offense, some stuff from Zach Charbonnet. He actually was on the radio. So this is kind of outside of training camp. But when he was asked about how Ryan Grubb is going to change the offense from Shane Waldron, one thing he said that the run game is definitely going to be more downhill and that he and Ken Walker can't wait. So I find that to be an interesting way to phrase it, because when I think of what Shane Waldron wanted to do versus what he actually ended up doing for one reason or another, I would think that you wouldn't necessarily want to go more downhill. You'd want to be going a little more horizontally, if anything, because that's what a zone-based scheme is, right? You let the running backs run outside, it's like outside zone, and they get the ball, and then they're able to kind of improvise based off what they see from the blocking. Where's the hole? I'm going to the hole, that kind of stuff. So looking at a quote like this, obviously we saw both from Grubb at UW. I know this. As a Huskies fan who watched every game for the past couple years that Grubb was here, I certainly know that Ryan Grubb is somebody who likes the inside zone and the outside zone. He will do all kinds of different stuff with his running game, but I find it to be interesting that this is what Charbonnet draws attention to. Now, with Charbonnet, I kind of get it because he's a little bit more of a power back, but I still think that Ken Walker will find his greatest level of success if he's allowed to get the ball in space, go to the outside, and find the hole. And that's kind of antithetical to being downhill. So we'll see how this goes. And the fact that it's coming from Charbonnet may just mean that he's talking about himself and talking about his own interactions with the offense. But this definitely stood out to me. And to me, one of the great failings of the Waldron era was how little we ran outside zone runs when you had running backs that should have been good for it. So will we continue to see that? And if so, who would be responsible for that? Because theoretically, the guy holding Waldron back from doing some of the outside zone stuff he probably wanted based on his past was Pete Carroll. Well, Carroll's not the coach anymore. But yeah, that was from Charbonnet here on 933 KJR. Some injury updates from yesterday's training camp session. Still no Draymond Jones. There's no point in worrying yet because, again, he's a veteran. But no Mike Morris either. So the injury he had 2 days ago was significant enough to keep him out for another day. Him, it matters a little bit more because he already missed the whole season last year and has barely played in his career. So, we're going to have PTSD flashbacks anytime that a guy like a Mike Morris has an injury flare up and has to miss any time at all. So we don't love that. Leonard Williams got a veteran day, so doesn't really mean anything. He wasn't hurt. He just got the day off. One positive injury note. Oh, yeah, Lakin Tomlinson got a vet day as well. One positive injury update was DJ James. DJ James was back after a couple days out, so he's getting reps again. Key, important, not necessarily for this year, but for him just in general as a player. So DJ James back, healthy, practicing, good to go. So that's the injury stuff by and large. Getting to the stuff that actually happened on the field, getting to the stuff that actually transpired at the VMAC. There were a lot of one-on-one exhibitions. Select players would go one-on-one in front of the whole team, a lot of receiver versus defensive back stuff. And that's probably the most exciting part of this team right now, when the receivers go up against the defensive backs, because those are two of our strengths as a team. Now, Mike Dugar here in this tweet lists out 2 highlights. Cody White beating Lance Boykin from PJ Walker. Now, that's not super interesting because Cody White and Lance Boykin are both it's unlikely they make the team, and PJ Walker's probably a practice squad guy. But I definitely want to draw attention to the second thing that Dugar mentions, which is Trey Brown breaking up a long touchdown catch to Eskridge with Howell as the quarterback. So now the Eskridge part, whatever, the Howell part, whatever, the Trey Brown part, every single day of the offseason so far, it feels like Trey Brown is putting himself out there as somebody that is ready to have a monster year. And it's not going to be necessarily easy for him to find playing time. I've said that before. I'll say it again because I think it's true. But that guy's going to find a way to contribute this year for sure. It seems like every single practice we're hearing great stuff about Trey Brown. So broke up a long touchdown catch, and it was considered to be one of the highlights of the day. So definitely encouraging stuff there. We also had some one-on-one pass rush drills in full pads. And one of the highlights from here that I want to draw attention to is Byron Murphy absolutely decleating and just atomizing Nick Harris on a pass rush. So, first of all, Byron Murphy in general looked like he had a pretty good day based on what I was seeing and hearing. So Byron Murphy continues to come along. He gets off the ball very quickly. He's got a lot of energy. He's showing different things. We're seeing some bull rushing. We're seeing some, swim moves. We're seeing some pass rush moves. But, this is kind of the issue that you have with Nick Harris. He is an undersized center. He is on the weaker side. He's a pure zone center. And people looked at this and said that, oh, Nick Harris needs to get off this team. He's getting bullied. Like, remember how Joey Hunt used to get bullied? Stuff like that. But I think it's important to note that, if Nick Harris is playing for you, you should never let him get into a situation where he's one-on-one against a pass rusher. So understand that this is just training camp stuff. This isn't indicative of like, Nick Harris is terrible now. No, Nick Harris is good at certain things. And yeah, I don't want him to start, don't get me wrong, because I don't think he's as good as guys like Oluwatimi or Connor Williams could be. But, understand what we're dealing with here. Understand what we're dealing with. And he's a center, right? A center shouldn't be going one-on-one against somebody like a Byron Murphy anyway. Now, the other thing from this Greg Bell tweet that I want to single out would be Christian Haynes, because I've heard really good things about Haynes both days of padded practice. And Lakin Tomlinson was out. So he actually, I saw some things that said he got to line up as a left guard. He lined up as a left guard and looked really good. So don't count him out. Do not count him out as being the starter on the left side as well. I would prefer to keep him on the right side because that's where he has experience, but definitely give him a chance. And also, we got a second mention of Mike Jarrell looking really good at tackle. Again, he's a ways away, but this is a very encouraging sign to me. The fact that he already looks this good, there's a lot of talent in there, man. There's a lot of talent. It's just going to take some time to be brought out. Looks like it's coming out maybe a little earlier than people were expecting. There was one interesting sequence at training camp yesterday where the coaches basically came up with a scenario, like a random scenario that the offense and defense had to play through. And the scenario they came up with was basically it's 1st and 10 from the 12-yard, I think it was like the 15 or 12-yard line with 12 seconds left, and you need a touchdown. So the offense has to try to go the 15 or so yards in 12 seconds, and the defense has to stop them. So the defense actually won this end of game scenario. Artie Burns knocked away a pass to JSN in the end zone. There was a slight overthrow of DK Metcalf where Spoon had such good coverage he kind of forced the overthrow. And Reek Woolen swatted the ball away at the last second from Lockett. And that was the end of the sequence because there were only 12 seconds. So the defense gets the best of them. And you can see the iron sharpening the iron with these defensive backs and these receivers. Another thing that I want to kind of draw attention to is the Reek Woolen element here, because Reek Woolen is another guy who's supposedly had a good training camp. And I've said it before, this is a very important training camp for Lockett. Not Lockett, Woolen, because if he doesn't show something better than what he had last year, and what he had last year was not bad, but I do think he's got to go in the right direction here. I don't know what his future is. So really encouraging things. I'm going to go ahead and split this video into a second part because there were so many notes from training camp yesterday that I want to go ahead and instead of making one super long video, I want to make 2 more modest sized ones. I understand that these longer videos can be a lot to digest, so keep an eye out a little later today for another Seahawks training camp video. I'll have more to say. Until then, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Thank you for watching. And yeah, there's just a lot to talk about right now.